Welcome back. New this morning, China is vowing that it will, quote, take all necessary measures if the United States investigates the trade deal signed in 2020 and if the U.S. imposes new tariffs on China. China's Commerce Ministry said that it has honored phase one of the agreement despite disruptions caused by the pandemic. But Washington says it will keep up its investigation into Beijing's compliance. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer took on the issue with me yesterday when he sat down with me in Washington. The U.S.'s strategy ahead of the president's trip to China at the end of March. Watch this. Are you willing to put an aggressive tariff on China right now?
Well, I think that over the past year, we've come to an agreement with China. They understand we're going to have some level of tariffs. You'll recall last April, we both escalated to about 145% tariffs. We de-escalated all of that. Since that time, we've had anywhere between 35, 40 to 50% tariffs on China, depending on the product. We expect that level to remain in place. We don't intend to escalate beyond that. We intend to really stick to the deal that we had before. We really want to focus on reshoring here. We want to have production here. We don't necessarily want to be dependent on China, Canada, or anybody else for things like cars and that kind of thing. But we're open to talk, and we'll see what they have to say.
And joining me right now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, always a pleasure. Good to see you. Look, President Trump is undeterred and continues to be determined on these tariffs, despite the Supreme Court ruling the other day. Jameson Greer walked us through how they are studying all countries and whether or not there is a serious imbalance in trade and whether or not that will require higher tariffs. Where do you think this stands going into this meeting that President Trump has with Xi Jinping on March 31st?
The Supreme Court knocking down the 1977 Act tariffs certainly weakens his bargaining position. But this Section 301 investigation of the 2020 deal is really important because although the Commerce Ministry says that they complied with the deal, it's clear China only bought 58% of its commitments. That deal was China was supposed to buy goods and services up to a certain amount, an additional $200 billion over a 2-year period. They only purchased 58% of their commitments. It's clear that they violated. If we don't do anything about this, Maria, the Chinese will think we're weak. So we obviously have to put those 301 tariffs into place.
Yeah, and I feel like it was pulling teeth getting them to keep the commitment to buy the soybeans. I know that, we spoke with the Agriculture Secretary yesterday. She said, yes, Brooke Rollin, they are buying all these soybeans. But still, you have to sort of push it out of them. Same thing on critical rare earths as well, right?
Right.
And now you've got this story on Iran. We just spoke with Reza Pahlavi. Iran reportedly close to a deal with China to purchase supersonic anti-missiles, anti-ship missiles. The Chinese-made missiles have a range of nearly 200 miles. They're designed to avoid ship defenses by flying fast and low. These missiles would significantly boost Iran's firepower and striking capabilities, especially against U.S. forces building in the region. Here's the former Crown Prince, Reza Pahlavi, with me just a few moments ago. Watch.
Well, reason more, Maria, to just push the regime over the cliff because it's on its way down and not throw it yet again another lifeline. This has been on arguments for decades, but this is a moment in time where the circumstances are the most favorable for this to happen. It's not just the relationship that Iran is now trying to establish with China. I mean, they've done it with North Korea. They're supplying drones to the Russians in their conflict with the Ukraine. I mean, every way you look at it, this regime has always been up to no good.
Your thoughts? I mean, here we are in the middle of this operation to try to get Iran to stop the nuclear buildup, and you've got China acting like it's the U.S.'s friend, but in actuality, it's complicit helping Iran. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Iran would not have a nuclear weapons program were it not for China. That's a Chinese program that has been transplanted to Iran. There are a lot of Iran problems we have. We've got Russia problems. We've got North Korea problems. But behind all these bad actors, we've got a China problem because these countries, Russia, Iran, North Korea, they could not pose threats to the international community if Beijing didn't back them. And by the way, the Chinese are probably going to sell hypersonic missiles as well as supersonic ones. Those, the Chinese say we don't have any defenses to those hypersonic missiles. Well, we do, but the thing is, we don't know how well those hypersonic missiles work, and we don't know how well our defenses work. So right now, the Chinese are actually giving the Iranians the equipment to kill Americans. And it's not just those missiles. It's radars and everything else.
Well, this has to be a part of the conversation with President Trump and Xi Jinping, right?
Oh, absolutely. If it doesn't get solved before then, because right now we cannot let the Iranians build up with Chinese weapons that can hit our ships.
Well, the U.S. just got a nice victory at the Panama Canal, right? Panama is assuming full control of the Hong Kong-based C.K. Hutchinson's port along the Panama Canal, handing the operations now from C.K. Hutchinson to a Danish company, Maersk, and Swiss-based company, MSC. Panama's Supreme Court annulling Hutchinson's contract last month, deeming them unconstitutional. Gordon, do you see this impacting U.S. relations with China? How do you think this will play out at the president's meeting as well?
Well, this is really important because President Trump is hitting the Chinese at places like Iran, like Panama, like Venezuela. And, this is, Mao Zedong had this tactic of encircling the cities from the countryside. That's how he won the Chinese Civil War. That's what Xi Jinping has been doing to us. Well, President Trump, to his great credit, is now employing the Chinese tactic against the Chinese. And in Panama, we got a lot of work to do. Taking back those 2 port concessions, those are important. But we got to rip out the Chinese telecom equipment in those ports because China can still remotely control them. We got to go after the 4th bridge over the canal that the Chinese are building. There's a lot of other stuff that the Chinese have in the canal zone.
Yeah, I mean, they can control things, but they also can surveil everything. They've got their surveillance equipment there at the Panama Canal, too, right?
And on our ports as well, with these Chinese cranes.
Of course. Yeah, it's interesting. All the while, President Trump says things like, well, Xi Jinping is my good friend. So I like the ambiguity that President Trump seems to be sending out there. Are you comfortable with that going into the meeting, or do you look for a further, stronger hand from President Trump? He doesn't like to show his cards.
Well, President Trump has got a great China policy behind the scenes, and he's really going after China and defending U.S. interests. But I would like a little bit more of Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, because I think it's important sometimes to say that the empire is evil. And the reason is we know the Chinese are hitting us. We just found their 2nd Chinese biological weapons facility on American soil, that one in Las Vegas.
Right.
They're preparing a mass casualty attack on the U.S.
Yeah, unbelievable. This is an unbelievable story. Just a few years after COVID, by the way. Gordon, great to talk with you. Thank you so much. We'll keep a watch on that, certainly. We'll be right back. Stay with us.